Ladies and gentlemen, RotoGrinders, welcome back to the Week 15 DFS Roundup. My name is Alex Dunlap. I am the editor-in-chief at rosterwatch.com. I'm the host of Roster Watch on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio tonight, 7 to 9 Eastern. Tomorrow morning, the Epic Game Day edition, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern, leading up to the RotoGrinders show. Here representing RotoGrinders, you know him, you love him. He is CJ Kaltenbach, TheSeige. Siege, what's going on, brother?
Honestly, I'm still taking victory laps from basketball last night, so it's all good.
Who did you have?
Chat was giving me the business for saying Karis LeVert was the worst play on the slate, and he went out there and put up, I think, 6 DK points.
Was he chalk? Why was Karis LeVert chalk in the first place?
Because Brooklyn was out like 3 guys, but they forgot that Nick Stauskas and Okafor were going to play and eat all the usage.
I forgot Okafor went there. I haven't played DFS NBA since the Roosters late scratch. That was early in the week, right?
Yeah.
Gallows late scratch. I mean, it gets me on tilt. DraftKings needs to find a way to fix that. But we're not here to talk NBA. We're here to talk NFL. This is the Roundup show. As always, we're gonna have 6 clips from the different shows of the week here on RotoGrinders. We'll go through them. Siege and I will talk about them. We'll give our takes. At the end of the show, we'll be able to BS a little bit with one another. Hopefully, I'll continue winning some cash from Siege, just like I did the week before last. I wasn't able to be here last week as I was welcoming my newest son into the world. Thanks to Grant Neefer for filling in here on the show with Siege, and Siege taking over hosting duties. But I will tell Siege that Josh McCown most definitely outscored Case Keenum in week 14, bringing me down to 6 from 6 units down to 5 units. And you don't trust me. You don't need to look it up. Josh McCown had an epic throbbing monster.
Was that the Jets week? Yeah.
Yeah. Epic.
Congratulations. You finally beat me. You finally earned one.
Yeah. Well,
not one catch for 1 yard and a touchdown wins.
So Siege is up. I don't even remember what our bold calls were from that show. They were probably horrible. So Siege up 5 units on me at this time. We have we have 3 weeks left for me to get this thing back down to even. We will do that here after we get through some of these takes from some of the other great hosts on some of these great shows. Before we get into it, Siege, I want to just talk to you a little bit about the Saturday slate. Are you playing it? What's your thoughts? You said before the show that you're not getting much volume in on this one.
No, I don't like to. I don't really like the 2-game slate. It's just I think it's one of those days I'd rather just kind of watch the games than kind of play the 2-game DFS slate. I have a fair amount of exposure to Keenan Allen over on draft, so that's kind of where I got most of my exposure to this game. So really not a game that I'm attacking too hard today. But I do like the Sunday slate. The more I think about it, there's a couple spots that I really like that are just going to go under-owned. I kept assuming as the week went on that people would get on a couple of these spots, and I pull up Lineup HQ and I throw up the ownership projections, and I see really quickly still no one's on these spots. So we'll talk about them.
Well, you always have a couple of definitely contrarian, sometimes cockamamie ideas. So I'll be interested to hear what those are. I've been coming around I've been my focus has been narrowing in on a couple players and a couple situations myself. It started out with this week being really hard just because there's no value. But I think that I'm starting to kind of narrow my focus a little bit, but we'll get into all that. Our producer Devin is back there behind the scenes, being the star here, getting these clips up for us. Let's go ahead and throw to the first one. This comes from the Daily Fantasy OGs, where they discuss that's a notorious head chopper and the Beer Makers fan. This was a discussion that those 3 guys had about if you're going to be paying up this week. I mean, everybody wants to. It's Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown are back on the main slate. Everybody wants to use these guys, but they talked about if you have to just choose one, which one you would rather have.
You got to pick one, Bell or Brown. Who is it? And I know you can get both in lineups and in stacks. That's what you want to do. But if you have to prioritize one over the other, I think that's a question a lot of people have to ask themselves each and every week. Is it Bell? Is it Brown?
Antonio, and if I have to pick one, it's Antonio, and in that scenario, it's not even close because Belichick has shown in the past that he's willing to let Antonio do whatever, and that's not going to beat him. But he wants to bottle up Le'Veon Bell, so I'll take Antonio.
Derek, same question.
If any wide receiver to play at least 3 games, Antonio Brown has the biggest air yard percentage on his team.
Air yards, Chop. Air yards.
And Bell. I play Bell on the road more, Brown more at home.
All right, I'm with you guys. It's Brown for me, especially with the value at running back. We've talked about guys like Collins, Ajayi. I think you can go cheap there. I'll load up on.
All right, so there you have it from the Daily Fantasy OGs. Again, that's Chris Prince, the Beer Makers fan, the head chopper and Notorious there on that pod. It comes out on the RotoGrinders podcast feed, I believe, on Wednesday, maybe Tuesday nights or early Wednesday morning. So a cool early week pod there. Siege, are you excited as everybody else is about AB and Le'Veon Bell being back on the slate? How are you planning on attacking this game? Obviously, it's the highest over/under of the week. I believe it is the 20-minute hammer. What are your thoughts on the New England-Pittsburgh game?
I'm glad it's on the main slate so everyone else can overplay it. For me, this is a situation. This is a bad matchup for Pittsburgh. It's a bad matchup for years. It's still a bad matchup for Pittsburgh. They're going to have poor field position because they can't kick. They can't handle the sky kicks. Even Chris Collinsworth was that chant last week. They kept starting at the 15-yard line. Like, if you're going to start at the 15-yard line against the Patriots, you're just not going to win.
Well, everybody starts there against the Patriots. That's how they've given.
But Pittsburgh's the worst at it. Like, they're awful. Like, they've been fumbling the snaps. They've been doing all sorts of kickoffs. Like, they've been bad. Like, it's not just like most teams that start like 18. Like, they're bad.
I just pulled up Jamino's ownership projections. Holy Kenyon Drake. I can't believe this. But anyway, Le'Veon Bell, he projects Le'Veon Bell to be the second highest owned runner of the week. If people are doing the stuff where the team jam these guys in, where they
no one's on team jam it in this week. I think people are going to play one or the other.
I thought that team was what Levitan called it whenever you put in David Johnson and
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon. Are you saying jam them in this week is AB and Le'Veon?
I mean, that's what people are going to try to do, or maybe not. Antonio Brown's 9,100, and like you look at these games, and they're not as good as you think they were. Like, so these are all of his games. So I'm not just cherry picking. These are all his games against the Patriots. 9 for 67 and a touchdown. So that's 21 DK points for 9,100. Nah. 5 for 71 and a touchdown. That's 18. That's no good. 9 for 133 and a touchdown. Okay, that's good. That's 22, 25. Like, that's 31. Okay, that's good for 9,100. 7 for 106.
That's like 31. That was a 31-pointer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's what you need for 9,100. Like, that's good. Yeah. And then, and then Pittsburgh, 7 for 106 and no touchdowns. So that's 20. You really want to pay that for 9,100? And then the playoff game, 7 for 77, which is like 14. Like, everyone's like, oh, Antonio Brown's had these great games against the Patriots. Not at a 9,100 price tag. He's not.
So it's been in the last 3 years, it's been a 21.9 pointer, a 14.7 pointer, a 30 and a 31.3 pointer.
Like, that's not like, is that really worth being super chalky? Especially now when there's no Juju Smith or a very limited Juju Smith. There's no number 2 pass catcher, and the Patriots can go ahead and just bracket Antonio if they choose to.
Or we should, like I was telling you earlier, I've been having to run around and do stuff with my kids this morning. Have we got an official word this morning that Juju's out?
I mean, if he plays, it'll be very limited.
Why? I'm not sure.
Hamstring. He re-aggravated it in practice.
I know it's the hamstring, but I mean, I was under the impression that, if these guys go, they're good to go, man. I think that, especially in a situation
like that. A speed guy like Juju?
Juju's not the speed guy as much as he's a smoothness guy.
Yeah, but that's the first thing you lose. Like, if you can't run crisp routes on a hamstring and cut. Like,
no. I mean, yeah.
For me, it's a situation where I just don't think it's a good matchup for Pittsburgh. It's never been a good matchup for Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin can talk all he wants, but I just don't know how they're going to ever have the ball because they're going to run like there's 2 options. Either Pittsburgh runs that soft zone they always run, and Tom Brady picks it apart and just runs the entire clock down, completing 8-yard passes, or they try to run man and run it absolutely horribly. Like, those are the 2 options on the defense. So, like, I just don't know how many plays Pittsburgh's going to run. Like, last week they ran a gazillion plays. Like, Big Ben threw the ball 66 times. That's not happening this week. And they're priceless. They're going to throw 66 times. So, for me, if I'm playing one, it's Lev Bell. I think you can even just fade this team entirely. I really do. I don't know. Like, if they get you if they score 17 to 20 points, that's not going to kill you. So I I'll play some Lev Bell for sure, but I'll have zero Antonio. Zero.
Okay, so who are you interested in on the other side? Like, are you interested in any Patriots? Or are you?
I like the spot for Chris Hogan a lot. I know a lot of people have brought this up this week, and it's definitely a great rebound spot for Chris Hogan. He
looked bad. He looked bad last week.
I think it was 1 week early for him. But
did you watch him close? He looked like he was hurt still.
Yeah,
but that's the thing about Hogan. He always kind of looks hurt.
He's had another 6 days. I'm not going to be worried about that here. You know, I like him. I think he's the guy I would play. I don't mind Rex Burkhead, but the price is kind of just absurd at this point. He is the goal line guy, so like I don't mind it. I'll have some Rex exposure for sure. But yeah, this game isn't one of my favorites. Like I get it; it's a high total. You know, I'm just Gronk. I guess I'll have exposure to Gronk, obviously.
Rex Burkhead is only getting 9.8 touches per game.
Yeah, but he's getting so many red zone touches.
Yeah, he's a high fantasy points per touch guy.
Yeah, it's just like, do I want to? I think I like some other games more than this one. I get it. That's why this game's popular. It's got a super high total. I think I really do. I really have a strong lean on the under in this game. I just don't know how Pittsburgh's going to have enough plays to put up points.
Rex Burkhead actually the fourth 1.03. Fourth highest fantasy points per touch of all the running backs on the slate. So that's, I guess it's kind of an interesting play there. All right. So yeah, I think that what about paying up for Brady? Angry Brady, pissed off after the Miami game. And hey, how about Xavier Howard finally coming through for us?
Oh yeah, I know, right? As soon as we give up on the guy, he plays his 2 best games as a pro.
He's awesome.
Yeah, I know, but he's hurt. He's sick this week.
Right. Yeah.
For me, it's a situation where I have interest in the Patriots, but I just don't know if I want to be. If I think the Patriots are going to get up early and I think they're going to be able to control the clock, I don't know if I really want to be like as heavy as the field on this game.
I can't believe you, Siege. I figured that you would be all over this as the Patriots homer. It's crazy.
I like the Patriots on spot. I just hate this spot for Pittsburgh. I've seen this game so many times. Yeah. This game goes like 27-10, like every time. Yeah. I wonder what the past games scores of these games were.
I just have the individual game logs of the players pulled up. And they don't show me the scoring, so I'm not sure.
Actually, I do have it. I do have the scores actually for at least all the Antonio games.
16-27, 17-36, 21-28, going back to 2015 at least. Those are the only ones I pulled up.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, I could see the 27-16 type game again. Yeah. For me, it's a situation where I think it's a situation where I don't think this game is going to be as super high scoring as people think it's going to be, you know?
Fair enough. All right, cool. I think we can move on to the next one. This comes from the DFS pick 6. Devin's going to get it up for us. This is an interesting deal. This comes from the DFS pick 6 is the Roto World Show with Evan Silva, Lord Reeves, and Eric Crane. And this was from the very end. It was an interesting take that kind of caught my ear because this is a guy who's been trending up that I've had my eye on a little bit this week as a value option. Let's go ahead and get to it.
How about Jay Ajayi, man? Is this the week?
I think it really could be, man. I think it could be.
People talking about Ajayi.
Everything kind of sets up for it.
His usage has been like this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really trending in the right direction. Giants are terrible in every aspect of defense. Makes a lot of sense for them to just dial up Jay Ajayi and run him into the ground at this point. Kenyon Drake, I think, is going to be the chalk, maybe on both sites.
This is the week where LeGarrette Blount just scores 3 touchdowns.
All right, there you have it. This was the guys in the DFS pick 6 here on RotoGrinders. I believe that comes out on Wednesdays or Thursdays here on Grinders Live, and then on the RotoGrinders podcast feed. Always, I mean, Evan Silva and Rich Reba are just super sharp dudes, and we all know that Eric Crane's won the $1 million last year. So I always like to hear what these guys say. And they were all in agreement that Jay Ajayi of the Philadelphia Eagles is an intriguing option this week with former Westlake High School chaparral Nick Foles taking over the duties there for the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe they'll lean a little bit more on this run game that they've sort of invested in to get that 3-headed monster going. Siege, what are your thoughts about Philly this week versus a totally putrid and crappy New York Giants defense? And your thoughts on the running game, specifically Jay Ajayi at 5K on DraftKings?
I think this game's going to be a lot slower than people think. Like, this game has a 40 total, and the team total for Philly is, like, only 23.5 at this point. So, like, everyone's acting like Philly's just going to score all these touchdowns. I don't really think that's going to be the case. I think this is going to be a December football game in New York. I don't think it's going to be played pretty clean. That being said, Nick Foles is a guy who loves to check it down to his running backs. 18% of his passes in his career have gone to the running back. And we know Jay Ajayi has zero catching ability. Zero. He has no catching ability. And neither does LeGarrette Blount. So I could spin a story where Corey Clement's the guy. You could pick a story where LeGarrette Blount's the guy. You could pick a story where Jay Ajayi's the guy. You could pick a story where they all suck, like they have every other week. You can pick a story where Nick Foles throws for 3 touchdowns. All I know is that there's way too many options on this Philly team that have reasonable touchdown equity to be playing any of them at a 23.5 total. I just don't see the point. I think there's some good spots that are going to be under-owned this week. So why am I going to go ahead and play fringe spots that are going to be pretty popular because people want to play Foles at 5.5? For me, it's kind of a pass.
What about Foles?
Nah, I'm not playing Nick Foles. Nick Foles can burn me. He can go throw for 302. Like, he can do it for sure.
Absolutely, dude. Foles has had some monsters.
Foles has been fine. It's just I go ahead and prove it to me, Nick Foles. Like, I would play Bortles first.
Okay, well, hey, I like Bortles, and we actually have a take on Bortles. Do you like Bortles, though? Something that's worrying me. We talked off air a little bit about whether we thought Leonard Fournette's going to go. I think both of us kind of think he's not. The last time he didn't practice through a whole week, he
they don't need him. It's the Texans led by T.J. Yates with a limited DeAndre Hopkins. Spoiler alert: the Jaguars are winning.
Okay, but just bear with me here. So what if you have Bortles? I know you don't play cash, but let's just say you have Bortles lined up in your lineup, and you found out that morning that Fournette was going to be active. Would that be enough to get you off Bortles to pivot over to Foles?
No.
Okay. So it doesn't mean anything to you whether or not Fournette's active the way you feel about Bortles.
No, I saw some reports yesterday that if Fournette's active, he still wouldn't probably be the lead guy.
Well, that's ridiculous. If he's active, they're going to. I mean, how can you not make him the lead guy? He's a sick.
Because the Texans have a team total of 13.
Yeah,
the last thing they need to do is have him pull a hamstring and miss that first playoff game. Like,
TJ Yates is going to get just demolished, dude.
I don't understand how people are playing any other defense than the Jaguars.
Well, you can play the Saints if you need to get down, but I think.
But
play any others.
People are like, there's variance in defense. There's no variance in TJ Yates on the road. Like, the variance is that DeAndre Hopkins puts up like 50 points. Okay, if DeAndre Hopkins puts up 50 points, I was losing anyways.
Right. Well, I don't know if you're losing anyways because no one's going to be playing Hopkins. I will say this about Jay Ajayi. I'm just looking at our snap counts, touches, and targets tool at Roster Watch. And Jay Ajayi's, they were saying his snap counts have gone up. I mean, they've really gone up. They went from 28 in week 12 to, it looks like, 41%, 28% to 41% in week 13. And then last week, up to 47%. So, I mean, he's definitely seen an uptick. There are other guys there that we'll probably get to in that sort of value area that I like better. So I'm sure we'll have time to get to him here when we get through the clips. Anything else on this game, Siege?
No.
Okay. This next one comes from the PFF show with Britt Devine and Tyler Beaker and our guy Scott Barrett. And this is a clip where Scott Barrett and Tyler Beaker have dueling takes about the player that we were just discussing, Blake Bortles.
All right, we're gonna go to Tyler's value play, and then we're gonna go right to Scott's dud play because we've got a battle brewing here over Blake Bortles. So let's see in-house PFF Royal Rumble who's gonna win.
All right, let's go, Scott. All right. This game opened with Jacksonville being an 11-point favorite at the beginning of the week. Positive game script isn't a bad thing for Bortles. In fact, Jacksonville was a 10-point favorite last week when Bortles went for over 28 fantasy points. Bortles has averaged 23.4 fantasy points over his last 3 outings. That was against defenses of the likes of Arizona, Indianapolis, and Seattle. Now he draws Houston, who ranks top 10 in most passing yards allowed, top 5 in most passing touchdowns allowed, and number 1 in most fantasy points allowed to opposing quarterbacks. Recency bias may have people forgetting how easy it is to pass on Houston. Over the last 3 weeks, they faced Jimmy G, Marcus Mariota, Joe Flacco, and they've allowed just 50
Jimmy
points.
Garoppolo's legit. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
The other two, I'm not too sold on.
1 touchdown in 2 games. We'll see how it goes. I'll just say that. But the other 4 quarterbacks before him were Gabbert, Brissett, Goff, and Wilson. A mixed bag there as well, but they've averaged 28.4 fantasy points. I really think that Bortles has a very high floor this week. Should see a lot of scoring opportunities, and I'm not afraid of game script at all, as some people are going to say. That means they should lean more on Fournette, who's banged up right now heading into the week. I think he's got ankle and quad injuries. I just really like Bortles. I think he's going to be a very popular cash game play as well.
All right, that was from the red corner. Now in the blue corner, trying to talk us down from Blake Bortles is Scott Barrett. So have at it, Scott.
So Tyler wants to talk recency bias. And sure, he's been good over his last 3 games, but over his prior 7 games, he had 0 multi-touchdown games, only 1 game hitting the 300-yard bonus. Really, I just want to break this down into 2 points. 1, he's Blake Bortles, so that's why you shouldn't play him. But 2, this is the league's most run-heavy team, and they're 11.5-point favorites against TJ Yates, who couldn't beat out Tom Savage. I will have 1 asterisk on this, and that is if Fournette is out, Bortles becomes a significantly better play in my estimation. But as it stands, I'd rather play someone like Nick Foles, who we'll get to.
All right, Siege. So there are a couple of dudes going back and forth about Blake Bortles. I don't think you and I are in such disagreement, though, as Tyler Beaker and Scott Barrett were there with Britt Devine on the PFF show, which comes out, I think, on Thursday nights, right after Dan's show with the Football Guys crew. Great slate of programming here on Grinders Live on Thursdays. Siege, as far as Bortles, I think you like him. Is he one of your favorite? Is he your favorite quarterback on the slate? Is he a guy you're just considering? Is he your favorite? Maybe where do you see Bortles on this week's quarterback pecking order?
He's kind of in the I think I need to have some category, but he's not like a favorite. He's quietly turned into a guy that now has like 3 or 4 passing options in that passing game. D.D. Westbrook, Marquise Lee, Keenan Cole. You kind of just can't get like
Marquise. What's his name? Mercedes.
Didn't he break his hand?
Did he? I don't know.
It looked like he did last game, but I could be wrong. I haven't paid attention to him. But either way,
I don't know.
But either way, Blake Bortles doesn't have just like one guy to throw it to like the Allen Robinson days. So like you kind of need, if you want to get the Jaguars passing attack, you kind of need Bortles to get you some exposure to everyone. He's cheap. He's 5.7K. I mentioned I think Fournette's going to sit here. I think he's a really good pivot off of Nick Foles. The weather's going to be better in Jacksonville. The Texans' pass defense is awful. So too is their offense. It's just a really good spot for Bortles to get 2 or 3 touchdowns in the first half. So I like him a fair amount here.
Well, I mean, for me, it's just about I want the guy that's attached to and I'm just reading here about Mercedes Lewis. I want to make sure that's clear. I don't see anything about him being inactive or anything, so I don't know. We'll certainly keep an eye on that. But I want D.D. Westbrook. I figure if I'm going to be getting D.D. Westbrook in all these lineups, I'm going to figure that Bortles is going to have a pretty good game. I hear it, dude. The Houston Texans get beat by the deep football. It's just how they get beat. This is the D.D. Westbrook explosion forthcoming. We've been touting D.D. Westbrook since before he was even off of IR around here. We've been telling you how sick he is. We've been saying it, trying to pound it as many people's heads as we can. This is finally it. This is finally it. This is finally the week. The epic, throbbing mega monster. So I want some of Bortles. But you said earlier that there is a quarterback that you like even more, which is Aaron Rodgers. Tell me why.
This is just a spot that people aren't on. Every time I try to bring up Aaron Rodgers, I get but he's hurt. He's not healthy. Who's he going to pass it to? I get the buts. And it's like, hi, it's Aaron Rodgers. It's Aaron freaking Rodgers at 6,800.
And he's healthy.
He could have played 2 weeks ago if they hadn't put him on IR.
His teammates are saying like they're pissed off. The Packers organization put his ass on IR because he has been looking so much better in practice. Of course, he's looking so much better in practice than Hundley. But this dude ran the scout team last week.
He's been ready to play for weeks now. And And the Carolina secondary, spoiler alert, not good.
Bad. Bradbury sucks. We've been trying to tell you he sucks. I've said since his Senior Bowl, this guy's not going to be ready to play. He went to Samford for college. I think that's D3. That guy was crowned as a good cornerback because he played for the Carolina Panthers. He wore the number 24, and he kind of looked a little bit like Josh Norman. He's no good. He sucks. Captain Munnerlyn sucks. These guys are going to get torched by a healthy Aaron Rodgers who – let's just go ahead and get to the next clip. I totally agree, Siege. Love Aaron Rodgers. I think I like Blake Bortles too. I think I might have – I'm probably going to have as much Aaron Rodgers as you have, but maybe a little bit more Bortles because I really do like Bortles' spot as well, especially if Fournette doesn't go. But speaking of, I want to see who you're pairing him with. But the next clip is actually about that. Let's go to the Swolecast that was on last night. This is where they have a Green Bay wide receiver discussion, and that way Siege and I can talk about if we're playing Aaron Rodgers, who are we stacking him with?
Think that the Jordy who do you think will be higher owned between Devontae Adams and Jordy Nelson? Because I feel like it's going to be Jordy because he's getting more buzz.
He's getting the buzz, but Adams has been better.
And Adams has been better. And Adams, if you go back and look at the first 5 or 6 games when Aaron Rodgers was playing, like Devontae Adams was significantly out targeting him then.
It was Jordy's touchdowns that people are
right.
They're chasing, and I don't know if he's going to average. What is he averaging, like a touchdown a game?
I think he had like 6 touchdowns in the first 4 games or something ridiculous.
Yeah, and one of those they had the game where he only played like 7 snaps and had that hamstring issue that was tilting. But yeah, definitely. We said earlier that Devontae Adams is kind of the clear number 1 now. So a lot of people go on Jordy. I think Adams is an interesting play, especially in FanDuel where they're like $100 difference. So you got that. Tuttle, you got a Green Bay wide receiver take?
Fade them both and go Randall Cobb.
Oh, snap.
No, I actually kind of do. So I don't know if this is the Packer fan in me getting a little nervous about this spot. I know the Panthers have been terrible in the secondary as of late. I don't think our O-line matches up very well with their defensive line, who's going to put a lot of pressure. So I do think you could see some shorter routes taking place and Rodgers trying to get rid of the ball quickly, which would work in Cobb's favor. So I don't mind him as a GPP option. Hopefully he just breaks one of those quick crossing routes.
All right, here we go. Back from all right. So we talked about we love Aaron Rodgers. He's a guy that like I'm pissed off because our analytics at Roster Watch we couldn't get him into any of our any of our tools just because it it's not necessarily safe for cash in this first week back. But for me in my tournaments I play this week, I might just have I'm thinking about having all of the Rodgers in tournaments and then maybe using Bortles in cash. But my question is, if I'm playing him in tournaments, how am I going to pair him up? We have Devontae Adams, we have Jordy Nelson, we have Randall Cobb. I think I know where you're going, but let's hear what you're looking to do. Are you interested in pairing him up for one, and for two? Who are you most interested in?
For me, it's a situation where I would go ahead and stack him with Jordy. I think Jordy's the best of the options this week. It just comes down to like he just had played well with Rodgers. He trusts him in the red zone. Like I'll have Devontae Adams too. I'm not saying like I'm taking a huge stand here, but I'm gonna have Nelson. I'm gonna have Adams, and I feel good about just those two. I don't need Randall Cobb. If Randall Cobb catches 2 touchdowns, so be it. Like whatever, I just lose. I'll be okay with that. I think those two are clearly the 2 I'm targeting, and I don't think they're going to be owned. I think Adams will be decently owned. I think everyone's just going to wait and see on Jordy Nelson, kind of like they're waiting and seeing on Aaron Rodgers. And come 3 o'clock tomorrow, people are going to be like, why didn't I play Aaron Rodgers in a spot where he was going to throw the ball 45 times? Like,
and he's
I don't know.
And he's don't know. It's not like he hurt his ankle where he can't move. It's not like it's his shoulder, and it's a bone, and it's healed. He's healthy. He's healed. He's back. Why are we not playing him? He's cheap. I mean, it's just I don't know. I'm just going to need to make an executive decision and get him onto the DFS cheat sheets we have over at Roster Watch because I don't care what the analytics say. It's just it makes too much sense. My case for Randall Cobb is that, man, this guy basically made the beginning of my 2017 before I burned through all of my bankroll playing stupid NBA, like in the playoff DFS, because this guy, he was on a tear to end last season, and he started this season in PPR when Rodgers is healthy, 17.5 points, and this is with only one touchdown through these games, 17.5 points in PPR, 13 points in PPR, 14.4 points in PPR, and then at Dallas, basically an inexplicable 6.9 in PPR, especially with how forgiving they were to start the season versus slot wide receivers. And then, at Minnesota, he'd had 3 targets from Aaron Rodgers before Rodgers even got hurt, was on his way to a nice game there. So, I mean, a 13.7 point median on DK for 4.9 with Rodgers healthy. I mean, I like a little bit of Cobb. You're saying you're not going to have any of them? He's only 4.9. We need some savings. No?
I don't need savings. I'm not playing Antonio.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be living in Robert Woods, Stephon Diggs, Goodwin. I'm gonna be living in that tier.
Why are you gonna start Marquise? Why does everyone want to start Marquise Goodwin against this Tennessee defense that doesn't give up big plays?
Because it's Jimmy G and he's gonna get complete 8 or 9 passes to him over the middle of the field.
I get it. I was really surprised when I saw his prop. Let me pull that up. Actually, it was the biggest. I mean, something for Marquise. Something that's for Marquise Goodwin, our boy from here in Austin. I've just never seen one like this. It was, he's got a real good prop, 6K, 5 receptions for 69.5 yards and plus 150 to score. That's by far the biggest prop you've ever seen out of that guy. So, I mean, Vegas thinks he's going to have a pretty good game. I don't know. I have a hard time paying 6K for Keys, though, man.
I'm just saying I'm just going to live in that tier. I'll probably have more Diggs than most of those guys.
Why is Diggs been so ineffective? He's going
to hurt
so hot.
When he's on the injury report, you just have to fade every time. He's like the Leonard Fournette of wide receivers. When he's healthy, he's going to beast. When he's not healthy, he's going to suck.
Well, let's move on to anything else from this one, Siege. What about Jamal Williams? He's 3x this salary in 50% of games that he's been in his current situation.
I can't pay that price with Rodgers back.
Yeah, he's 3x it 50% of the time.
With Brett Hundley.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Well, you don't think that Rodgers might get him down in the scoring position and let?
Wouldn't you just rather play like Latavius?
I think Latavius Murray sucks, but this week
I understand that, but that doesn't matter.
but this weekend I kind of do like him. I think I might like Jerick McKinnon. I'm really struggling about the Jerick McKinnon versus Latavius thing, but yes, I think I'd rather play either.
Minnesota's just a team in general. I know I'm going to be overweight on before this week's over.
Here's one guy who I would rather pay down and play. I'll be interested to hear what Siege has to say. Devin will get this one thrown up for us. This one comes from the Experts Square Table, where STL Cards last night filled in for Adam Levitan along with JM to win. Here's those two guys talking about a value running back that I am very interested in this week.
Any other running backs that you've got?
Yeah, one of the most, from what I've been hearing, one of the guys who's likely to be really popular, especially in higher dollar tournaments, is Samaje Perine. Do you have any thoughts on him this week?
It's interesting because, and I was talking to Eric Crane about this earlier, that, with Washington, they lost Rob Kelly, and then they lost Chris Thompson, and then they lost Byron Marshall. There's basically not a whole lot of guys left. And I'm not sold on the fact that Perine is 100% healthy at this point. I mean, he's not 100% healthy, but how healthy is he? He's basically the last man left standing there. I don't love this game. Like, if Arizona and Washington, if you said, I've got to pick out one guy that I have to take from this game, it's probably Larry Fitzgerald. But it's just you've got two teams that are kind of playing out the string, low 40s total in this game. I just don't love it. Now, this is probably the game that'll end up turning into a shootout, and then I'll have egg on my face. But I understand the logic behind it because of the likely workload. I'm just concerned about how healthy is he at this point in the season, and what can we expect offensively in this game. I just get the feeling that this game kind of might be a slog, and I'll probably be underweight on Pirine, but I do understand the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Arizona's a top 5 run defense in terms of yards allowed. And the workload's nice, but there's other guys getting that type of workload. I mean, obviously Kenyon Drake. I don't think that people are fading Kenyon Drake to use Pirine, but maybe people going with Pirine, Drake, and Bell. I think I would slightly prefer Latavius Murray over, I mean, all these guys we talked about, slightly prefer Murray, slightly prefer Collins, slightly prefer Mike Davis. I think Pirine's in the discussion. And if somebody wanted to rearrange those guys in any order, I wouldn't call you out on it. I wouldn't say that's not sharp, but yeah, for me personally, Pirine is number 5 on that list of those 5 value guys.
Okay, so that was the expert square table with STL cards, Justin Van Zuten, and JM to win, and that was them talking about Redskins running back Samaje Perine, who now finds himself in a situation where the targets are ticking up, where he has the backfield completely to himself. Byron Marshall sucks, and he's on IR anyway. There's nobody else threatening to take any sort of touches away from him. I think they just signed some stiff. Like Capri Bibbs, who is never going to play because he sucks. Siege, what do you think this week about a guy for 40? I think he's 4,800. I mean, Samaje Perine hasn't passed every bit of the eyeball test this year, and it's not necessarily the greatest of matchups, but this is a pretty good offense. If he's going to be getting 20 to 25 touches, I see it pretty likely he's going to fall into the end zone at least once. If he gets 5 targets, I see it pretty likely. Samaje Perine, I've always said, has a little bit underrated hands. We've known that ever since he was playing high school ball right up the road here in Pflugerville. So your thoughts on Samaje Perine as a cheap value option?
I like him more than almost all the other options.
Well, that's saying something, right?
Yeah. The ownership number is the one that's just getting me.
Well, I can't believe that Jamino had him, because I said I think he might have gotten a big bump overnight somehow.
Yeah, because everyone's seeing the same thing you are. And It's just like, I don't know if I want to play chalky Samaje Perine. I would, if he was going to be 10% and I could go 20% in tournaments, I could deal with it. But having to go 30, 35% in tournaments now, I think I like Latavius more. But I like him more than Jay Ajayi. I like him more than Alex Collins, who's the worst player on the board. So
you don't like Alex Collins, huh?
No.
He's looked really. Can you at least admit that he's looked really good?
Yes, that's fine. But you know what? He's a part of a 3-man platoon against a team that literally the way the running backs get there is through the air, and he has 12 catches the entire season. He is the worst play on the board.
Alex Collins at Cleveland. He's 5K. It's our number 23 matchup for traditional runners this week at Roster Watch. The prop on him is not bad, 72.5 yards. Vegas has a 1 reception prop on him at least.
One reception.
Minus 110 to score. So a favorite to score. That's
minus 110 to score.
13.14 points on DK, projected 2.63x. It's actually, I have 70 props up or 68 props up so far. Actually, as far as the point per dollar, what his prop would indicate, he's number 9 on the whole board. So I'm a little bit interested in Alex Collins. I know that our model had him popping off too. So we'll see what happens. I think I'm more interested in one of the Minnesota backs. I just think with those linebackers out, man, I think that Jerick McKinnon is going to get open to catch some balls for the DK volume. So I don't know. It's just hard. But those linebackers are out. And I mean, Vontaze Burfict can stuff the run too. That helps Latavius. So I'm just come back and forth. I like one of them. I just don't really know which. Let's get this. Anything else on this game, Siege?
No. I think that's kind of where I'm at. It's a fine spot. It's just not a game we'd have a lot of exposure to overall, so it's fine.
Do you think that Josh Doxson's been good enough to where he'll get the Patrick Peterson treatment?
No, but he'll get it.
Okay. All right. Fair. All right. Let's get this last one knocked out. I think I know exactly how Siege is going to feel about this. This comes from Warren Sharp on the Sharp NFL or the Sharp DFS analysis show with Chris Jamino and Chris Raybon. This is actually one that was suggested by our producer, Simon Edwards. It's actually a kind of interesting and contrarian take on a defense that I hadn't thought of at all this week.
the reason why the 49ers defense has gotten so much better has been as a result of their offense playing better. And it just talks to how the defense can rest. The defense then looks better. The offense on the other team is forced into doing certain things when you're trailing that you don't have to do when you're winning. So when the 49ers offense was doing absolutely nothing and other teams had a lead, then their whole playbook is open to do all types of things and get more creative against the 49ers. But when the 49ers are actually dictating the game, then the opposing team is forced into certain situations. And what have we seen? We've seen this defense look tremendously strong the last 3 weeks, even I'll go back the last 3 weeks. It's even stronger the last 2 weeks. But if you look at what they've been doing from a defensive perspective, season long, they ranked 26th in passing efficiency allowed to opposing teams. They are allowing 47% success rate. The last 3 weeks, they moved that up to 14th in the league, only allowing 43%. But where they've really dominated is on the ground. They were ranking 20th over the course of the season, but the last 3 weeks, number one in the NFL in terms of only allowing a 36% success rate on run plays. And explosive rushing, they were the worst run defense in the league at giving up big explosive runs to start the year. The last 3 weeks, they're the fourth best team. They're only allowing explosive runs on 10% of opponents' rushing attempts. And I define explosive runs by any run that gains at least 10 yards. So I look at a situation where normally you would not think twice. I mean, think about this. If we're talking about like week 5, okay, the Titans are going to be obviously favored here. And you wouldn't think twice about rolling out Mariota and Corey Davis and all these other receiving weapons that the Titans had. Plus, whichever is your favorite running back that you think is going to do the best in this game. But now you're looking at it and they're slight underdogs, and forget even what the line is. The Titans are not playing good football right now. And the 49ers are playing great, and that defense is looking much better than it was earlier in the
All right, so that was the epic mustache man himself, Warren Sharp, who TheSeige said went on an epic rant this weekend on Vegas radio. I'm going to go and search the Google machine after this to go listen, because he was apparently railing on what a donkey Mike Tomlin is and the way he play calls by, seemingly random aggression without any sense about how to attack the ways he should. So always interested in hearing those kinds of things. But anyway, that take was from the Sharp DFS analysis. Warren Sharp, that was his take. He's interested in the San Francisco defense this week, playing against the Tennessee Titans. It's completely off my radar. Siege, how about you?
I understand what he's doing. I understand the idea behind it. Like, the Titans' offense is awful. I get it. I get what he's trying to say. But have you met my friend over here, the Jaguars defense, playing TJ Yates on the road with a 13 team total, which I think might be high?
Yeah. No.
Have you met my friend the Saints against Bryce Petty in the Superdome?
Who sucks?
Awful. It's just like, I get it. I get they save you money. When I see a defense that I can legitimately say the floor is 10,
yeah.
Do I want to get cute when the 49ers defense is awful and Rashard Matthews could just go light them up? Probably not.
Well, it's just like, all right, let's say that I told you that there's this guy who's 4,500 and that his floor seems like it's 10, and he has 30-point upside for 4,500. You're going to want to get him in, right? I mean, for me, it's an obvious situation. I think the Saints are probably fine. I think the Saints are fine. If you got a lineup that you just have to get that extra 600, which I've toyed around with, I think the Saints are fine. I don't think they're going to be able to get anything done. Bryce Petty's awful. They
could run the ball. Like, they could just get lucky running the ball.
With who? Forte and Powell? These guys suck, dude.
But they've done it before.
I guess, man.
I see a road where the Jets somehow magically get 13 points on the board.
All right, so we're through.
I don't see any road other than DeAndre Hopkins just catching 16 balls for 200 yards.
It's not going to happen.
That's the only way that they're going to score points.
No, I get it.
Unless like TJ Yates learns how to throw a deep ball to Will Fuller.
Hey, where does Jamino have the ownership on the Jags? Is it the highest? Are you on the lineup HQ right now?
I am. No. Yes. No, it's not. No, it's not. They're 10%.
Oh God, really?
On DK.
Who are these other idiots going to go with?
The Vikings, the Saints, the Redskins, and then there's scattered ownership everywhere because people have to save money to fit in Antonio. See, like fading Antonio lets me just play the Jags and I don't have to worry about this.
Lets you do some other things too, right? All right, so
yeah.
So thanks to Devin for getting all those clips up for us here. We're through that portion. We got a few minutes here to kind of maybe swindle up some kind of prop bets and talk over some of the other interesting things on the slate. You mentioned earlier, Siege, when we were talking that you like a lineup this week if you're not going to be on Antonio Brown or Le'Veon with any sort of real frequency.
I do like Le'Veon. Let's be clear. I will be overweight the field on Le'Veon.
I don't think. Oh, so you're going to be overweight on Le'Veon? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say that. I plan on being overweight. I guess I could see a road where I don't end up there.
Okay. So regardless, you're taking a little bit more of a balanced approach than other people. But are there value runners who you like? I'm looking at our Vegas tool up at Roster Watch, and one guy that never really popped up to me, the prop on him is really good, and that's Mike Davis. At home versus the LA Rams for only $4K. The rushing yards prop is 60.5 with the 2 reception prop for 19.5 yards plus 150 touchdown odds. It's the best value from the props that have come in so far of the 67 I have up from the early offshore ones. That's 3.1x. It feels a little gross to get in Mike Davis, or does it feel good? How do you feel about him at 4K? Feel thin?
Feels gross, but I'm willing to I'm willing to look at it. Seattle just always throws first down, Mike Davis gets stopped at the line on 2nd and 10. They're going to run a play action pass. The road for Mike Davis to be on a tournament winning team is 2 touchdowns. And it's just I don't know. I just don't see that many red zone carries for him. This is a team that normally scores from decent ways out, on passing plays.
Do you think he's safe for cash given the volume that he's gotten lately?
Probably, but wouldn't you just play P. Ryan first?
P. Ryan's 800 more, but yeah, in a vacuum, I think I'd play P. Ryan if I just had the choice.
Yeah, I don't mind him. I think I'm much higher on just Russell Wilson, Jimmy Graham, Doug Baldwin than Mike Davis.
Is Jimmy Graham going to be chalk? Where does Jamino have him?
I think he's going to be. He put up a 0 last week. Thanks a lot, buddy. Yeah, he's chalk, but he's not crazy.
He's what is he the highest owned? Projected?
Yeah, highest owned, but it's not a crazy number because
he's going to be pretty even. It's tight end so bad this week.
Hey, Jamino, I love you, buddy. There is no way that Jesse James is 15%. 0. Love you, buddy. No chance.
How cheap is? I haven't even looked at Jesse James. There's no way.
Let's head over to the Slack machine and tell Jamino very nicely that he has lost his mind. If Jesse James is 15% out of this slate, I need to register some more contests real quick.
Yeah, unbelievable. Well, so all right. So as far as if you are going even and balanced, I think that Kenyon Drake is not even really that. I don't even consider him in the mid range. I consider him kind of low to mid range at 5,800. What do you think of Kenyon Drake going up against this absolute abomination of a Buffalo defense with the hot streak that he's been on? Kenyon Drake is the guy that coming out of his Senior Bowl and his evaluation process, I said, look, if he can learn to pass protect, which he's brutally awful in coming out of college, that he has a chance to pop, and be a player. And I saw in this last game versus your Patriots, he was getting his nose in there, dude. He was getting his base set. He was pass protecting. He was understanding the big on big concepts. What are you thinking about Kenyon Drake this week? He's really been awesome. He's not that expensive. Is Damian Williams even going to play? I'm not even sure he's going to play. Even if he does play, I can't see him taking over that much of a role. Where are you on Kenyon Drake, who Jamino says is going to be over 40% owned? He's been good.
It's been good.
And it's the best matchup there is on paper if you're not Kareem Hunt.
Chalk running back with a 17 team total is always just a red flag. That being said, like, the floor is good. The floor is great. I shouldn't say good. The floor is great. My problem is that this team just doesn't rush for touchdowns worth a damn.
Yeah.
Like, they have 2 rushing touchdowns the entire season. Like, can you really keep putting up 22 to 25 points a week with no touchdowns?
Is that true?
2 rushing touchdowns. They didn't have one until like week 12.
No, I remember there was a drought. It just seems like they've been better than that recently. Because I thought were those Damian Williams touchdowns on passes? Some of them, I guess so.
Yeah.
That corner pylon touch. Yeah, I guess probably so. Did Jay Ajayi ever score a touchdown for the Miami Dolphins this year? I don't think he did.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think he did. So yeah, that's weird. So I mean, are you going to have any Kenyon Drake? Are you going to be below the field? What do you? I mean, if let's say he does come in at 40-something%, does that mean you're going to? Does that mean you got to get up to 80% Kenyon Drake? That feels maybe a little weird. Here's his prop, a 5,800. The rush yards is 75.5. They have him pegged for 3 receptions for 21.5 with plus 125 touchdown odds. So that would be 16.37. That would be 2.82x. You'd probably be happy with that. It's actually the 4th best value based on the Vegas prop that we have over the 68.7 that I have in so far. A lot of. I mean, he's popped like crazy in our model. I mean, a lot of good signs pointing towards him. You're just you're not over the moon.
I'm just not over the moon for it. Like, if I just took out the name and I said running back A is going to get 18 carries and 7 targets, and his team has scored 2 rushing touchdowns the entire season, and his team total 17, and they're going into Buffalo in December, and they're from a warm weather climate, how excited would you be on paper?
I mean, that isn't a very convincing. That's not a very convincing pitch. But
that's my point, right? Like you wouldn't be thrilled to roster that guy at super chalk ownership. That's the point, right? So it's if you take the name away and you look at the situation, it's not exactly a dream.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that personally, if you just framed it like it's a guy who's looked really good. He's cheap.
Looking very good is relative, though. Like, that could change on a dime.
90% of snaps, 193 yards last week on 30 touches.
But that's last week. Like, that's past results don't matter.
Week 13, 141 yards on 26 touches and 79% of snaps.
Yeah, but those are better. Home. Like, here's his road game performances. 10, 16, 2. Like, he's been crushing at home. Everyone crushes at home.
Not everyone. But yeah, it's definitely
I'm just worried. I just am worried that this train has gone a little too far.
Fair enough. I totally get it. And you can, I totally get it. I just, those games were at home whenever Damian Williams was around. And I'm not sure we're going to have Damian Williams as much as a factor here. So it'll be, well, let me ask you this. I mean, do you want to make an over-under bet on?
No.
And the bet you want to make?
No.
Who do you love this week? You said you love Stephon Diggs. Do you want to do any kind of prop on him?
I'll take Diggs. What do you got?
Let me see. Let me pull up.
No, you don't get Robert Woods. Don't even ask.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I want Robert Woods. What do you love about Robert Woods so much? Just that he's really good.
I mean, I'll take Diggs and Woods against a couple guys in that section if you like.
Sure. Let's pull up a contest here. Upcoming main slate, right? Slate.
You can pick whatever as long as the game hasn't started yet. We talked about all the games on the show.
Okay. I just have the main slate contest pulled up. So let me look at this. Can I take Marquise Lee?
You like any others?
Can I take? I mean, that's the one that I'm most interested in, and he's the exact same price as Diggs. I'll take Marquise Lee.
Okay.
Can I take?
You said Juju was going to be fine. How about you take Juju?
No, I'm not taking Juju. Will you give me we give me Rashard Matthews plus 2.5 versus
2.5? I'm not giving you 2.5 on a player I like.
It's a guy who's all right. Will you give me D.D. Westbrook?
Yeah, right. Don't even ask.
He's so much cheaper than the rest.
Yeah, right. Don't even ask.
Will you give me how about Cooper Kupp?
All right, I'll give you Cooper Kupp. Yeah,
versus who? Versus Woods?
Kupp. So Kupp and Lee versus Diggs and Woods.
What can we do? Lee versus Diggs and Kupp versus Woods just to keep track of it better?
Just whoever scores the most of those. You get two guys, and it's for 2 units.
It's just a 2v2 for 2 units.
So whoever scores the highest number of points between the 4 wins 2 units.
Wins 2 units.
2 units. So, like, if Kupp puts up 35,
Kupp, but now, man, this is how my cash game mind is swindling me because Kupp, it doesn't have the upside of these other guys.
I mean, I'll do. We can add them if you like. We can do addition too. I don't care. I'll play either way.
You can play what?
We can just do Kupp plus Lee points versus Diggs and Woods points. That's fine for 2 units.
Fair deal. Booked. Okay, yeah, add them both. Perfect. All right, so we got the bet booked. Siege at this point. Yeah, I'm down 5 on him. Hopefully that'll be back down 3 units after we get this Leonard Fournette thing all settled. If Leonard Fournette ever plays a game this season.
Yeah, just sit Fournette, baby. Just sit. I believe in you, Fournette. Rest of the playoffs. That's gonna be a tough game against the Chargers. They're gonna need you.
What's your bold call for the week before we head out of here and get set for this Saturday slate?
D.D. Westbrook puts up 30.
Whoa, come on. I was going to say something about D.D., but not that hot a take. You think he's going to put up 30? That's going to swindle all my Marquise Lee action that I need.
That might be a little aggressive, but God, I love this stuff.
I love D.D. It's going to be an epic.
If I said something less hot, like if I said like 25, you'd be like, oh, that's not that hot.
No, I don't ever berate you for your takes not being hot enough. That's what you do to me.
Yeah, well, that's because they're never hot.
How about I say, is anybody going to be on Josh Gordon, the sickest anaconda, the beast?
No, they're not. Well, yes, I love this take. So
let me just say he's going to go bananas. We'll just say this will be the Josh Gordon 30-pointer. So it's going to be the D.D. Westbrook 30-pointer and the Josh Gordon 30-pointer.
Yeah, and just that point. I mean, Josh Gordon, we know he can run a vertical, and we saw Antonio just run the vertical by him. And God, if Kaiser can just throw it within a 10-foot radius of Josh Gordon, he's going to have 2 long touchdowns.
Hey, he makes these idiots.
This is the perfect flop lag spot where everyone was on him last week. And they get off this week, and he goes and puts up 35.
I'm telling you. So for me, my hot take will be Josh Gordon, 30+. That'll do it for this week's DFS Roundup. You can find all of Siege's content here on RotoGrinders. You can sign up for his tournament tactics package, which will – Siege, we need to make a bet for a tournament tactics package versus a roster – like I'll give you a Roster Watch lifetime membership so you can keep up with all the draft stuff. But I need something to help me with NBA. I'm absolutely horrible at it. And I want to play DFS – before MLB starts. So next week we can get a bet going for that.
We should say that for like week 17 when it's like your preseason, your preseason or my preseason darlings versus your scouting guys that you haven't talked about in 3 months.
Perfect. There we go. All right. So we'll save that for week 17. But anyway, you can find all of Siege's tournament tactics package here in the marketplace at RotoGrinders, the NFL one, the NBA one right now. I believe you're going to have the MLB one here coming up soon. So you can find all that right here on RotoGrinders. You can find all my content with a pro membership at rosterwatch.com. Listen to me tonight, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern. So for Devin, our producer, for The Siege, I am Alex Dunlap. Until next week, we are getting the hell out of here.